Would you be recommending a shelter in place in these hotspots at this point?
I think it's got to be considered, yes. Chuck, we got here because we're not taking it seriously. We've had no national strategy, as you pointed out. And on top of that, we are never going to do any sort of economic recovery if people just don't feel safe.
Fat chance. That's not going to happen. There is no debate about that because the president of the United States is still basically a COVID denier. He says states should not shut down again. Therefore, without federal leadership, it's not going to happen.
As we start seeing these surges, you may need to pull back a little. I don't mean necessarily going back to a complete shutdown. I think psychologically that would be really very difficult for people to accept. But what we can do is, if you're going too quickly, call a pause, a timeout, and think maybe you want to backtrack a little.
Right now, California has the highest number of COVID infections in the country. San Diego County is one of 36 just placed on the governor's watch list. That could lead to more shutdowns or maybe even a stay-at-home order.
But unless states have mandates with consequences, what's to stop this from just ping-ponging around the country? I live in New Jersey, which has announced people who come from specific states have to self-quarantine, but that would require people being honest and adhering to it, and people just aren't.
The cat's out of the bag. It's spread. The virus has spread throughout the community. And so if you really want to contain this, now is the time to really clamp down, focus on the mask wearing, the hand hygiene, and where necessary, shelter in place orders.
It's really discouraging because when you shelter in place, you lose an incredible amount of your economy. People, lose their jobs. And the hope is that when you come out of it, you're going to be able to control the surge of the virus.
Actually, if we do have self-discipline, if we do have perseverance, in 8 weeks, you can bring this down to a very, very minimal level and open up in the proper way. Do things outside. Don't have crowds. Don't do internal restaurants and bars.
We want, as much as anything, for social justice to take the center stage, because poverty, racism, they are actually bigger killers than coronavirus by the statistics. We had a Doctors for Justice march. And what were we doing? We were passing out masks. We're making sure if you didn't have a mask and you had a megaphone, you were protected. Masks all the time. Social distancing as you can do it. I will say we should all be expected that cases are going to rise.